Hey, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I'm How Abstract, and in this video, we are talking about the Angora Opaque watercolor paint pan sets. This paint palette is made in Germany and has brilliant non-toxic watercolors that come packaged in convenient hinge plastic boxes with transparent plastic covers. In this 36 set, we have white, spoiled yellow, lemon, yellow, flesh tone, Indian yellow, orange, rose, vermilion, red, crimson, pink, magenta, violet, light violet, yellow ochre, dark ochre, burnt sienna, turquoise, yellow green, French green, olive, blue green, dark turquoise, light gray, dark gray, umber, grizzly light blue, blue gray, baby blue, cobalt, ultramarine, Prussian blue, cyan blue, dark umber, and black. The Angora paint palette contains thick, opaque, and semi-opaque color tablets that are of high quality and are long-lasting and durable. In the next clip, you're going to see me swatch all 36 colors in the tablet. I really like this palette. It is so nice. It comes with a great variety of colors, and I just love how the colors perform on paper. Certain watercolors that I use, they stain the paper. So as soon as you place the color on the paper, it immediately stains the spot and you can't move it from that spot. With these Angora watercolors, I can place the color on the paper, go back to the palette, choose another color, come back, and the color will still not have stained the paper. I can still move it. It is very fluid on the paper. So if I want to go back and blend edges, I'm able to do that. With other watercolors that I have, I'm not able to do that. And don't get me wrong, stains, which is what I call those types of watercolors, they serve their purpose. But when I don't want to use watercolors that stain the paper, this is definitely a palette that I would use again. I even want to purchase their inclusive skin tone palette. I think that one comes with 24 colors because that's how much I really like this paint. I also like that the colors are blendable because that leaves endless possibilities when you want to layer, and when using watercolor, you're definitely layering your paints. Later on, I include a clip of me using the palette to create a small seascape, and you will see how nicely the colors layer on top of one another while still showing their pure color. In my honest opinion, the Angora palette has left me with no notes. The only con, and it's not really a con, well, maybe to some, and it may not be to others, the palette doesn't come labeled. So when you get the palette, it looks exactly as it looked at the beginning of this video. It just comes in the plastic case, just vibes, no labels, no swatch card, nothing like that. So you have to go on either blick.com, or you could go on Jerry's Artist Outlet because they carry this palette as well, and that's actually where I purchased this palette. But to find the swatch, I just pulled it up on Blick because that was the first thing that came up, and I labeled my swatch card so that way I know what colors are in the palette. So as I said, that will be the only con. And it's not a con about the paint in of itself. It's a con about the packaging. Um, so yeah, here you see me using the paint, and as I said, it doesn't stain the paper like other watercolors, so you're able to work a little bit slower and pace yourself a little bit slower, because you're going to be able to go back and blend out those lines. You're going to be able to go back and blend in other colors, because I've used watercolors like that as well, where you're not able to go back and blend other colors because the color has dried so quick. The paper that I'm using this paint on is the Fluid Easy Block Cold Pressed Finish 6x6 paper, and I purchased this block from Blick. I love Blick. So you'll hear me saying Blick or Jerry's Artist Outlet a lot. Both stores have very affordable prices, which is why I love them both. But back to the video, look at how nicely this paint is blending on the paper, right? No staining in sight. I'm able to go back into that purple and add that magenta without any problems, like no problems whatsoever. And you will just see me continue to just add in color, blend it out, add in more color. And my paper was dry when I started. I didn't wet my block. I went in with wet paint on dry paper. So this is how this paint reacts on dry paper. And you may be thinking I'm using a wet into wet technique with the paint, so of course it's going to blend. But I've used watercolor paint where I'm using the wet to wet technique, and the blending is not as good as this paint here. And for the price of the palette, it is definitely worth it. At Jerry's Artist Outlet, I paid $32 for a pan, well, a set of 36. And at Blick, they have the palette for 33. So a dollar difference, which is not much. So it doesn't matter which store you stop at. The palette is $33, and that's for the set of 36. They also have the palette in a set of 14 for $11, and a set of 24 for $25. And they also have that set of 24 inclusive skin tone palette that I really want, and that's $23. I do want to say that this video was not sponsored. You have to say that nowadays. I'm not getting paid for this video. I'm not getting paid by Angora. I'm not getting paid by Blick or Jerry's Artist Outlet. These are just stores where I purchase my art supplies. And this was a palette that I really enjoyed using. So I wanted to, I wanted to share the knowledge, share the love, share what I discovered, and you may have already discovered, but if you haven't, check them out and tell me if you like it.